Hi, Harry Dent here. I want to give a market update at this critical time and also just a little overview of our paid newsletters for people that aren't on that. If there's a time to be on our paid newsletters, I'm saying it is now. Because it does now look like the markets have peaked on January 4th for the S&P 500, which is the largest, broadest stock market in the world. Now, this has been preceded, as I've been showing in the newsletter, by a series of peaks all the way back to February of 2021. One global stock index after the next until we hit the small caps, the Russell 2000 on November 8th, and then November 22nd, the NASDAQ, and finally, the largest index, the S&P 500 peak. And the FTSE in London just after that, I think in mid-January. So this is really looking like the top. As people know, I've been warning, first crashes tend to be 30 to 40%, sometimes higher in the first 2, 3, 4 months. And this hasn't quite been that thus far, but it's looking like it more recently. So I think we've seen, a first wave down into March, a bounce, and we're seeing a second wave, actually technically called the third wave, into May here, late May here. I think we have one more little bounce here and one more wave down, say, I'm guessing mid-July. That should form the first wave down. The NASDAQ's already been down 32%. The S&P down 21%. That's in the zone for a first crash, but boy, we get one more wave down and this is a slam dunk. So the biggest crash of our lifetime, something I've been warning about for years, something central banks have been fighting with everything they got, but they fought so hard, they pushed inflation suddenly up to 8.5%, and now they have to tighten. And I'm telling you folks, this economy cannot take tightening. It is at the bottom of our demographic generational spending wave cycle that peaked in 2007. And so it's at the weakest point, and the millennials don't pull us out of this until around the beginning of 2024. So how do you get prepared for this? If you're not on our paid newsletter, as I said earlier, this is the time. We don't just have a newsletter, we have a newsletter package. There's 2 newsletters. My newsletter looks at market cycles, technical analysis, even short-term when necessary. When something really looks like it's topping or turning, and of course, all types of demographic trends that come into play. Rodney Johnson, my partner, he is really in the fundamentals of the markets, valuation, overvalued, how they're moving, and he is really a specialist in the bond markets, much more than me. And he looks at the inner workings of the Federal Reserve. And of course, nobody's more important than central bankers in this transition where they've been stimulating so hard that they overstimulated, and now they're having to pull back, and anything could happen here. Well, you know what I think is going to happen? I think the economy is going to prove to be much weaker than they think without all this stimulus. Now, what you also get though, is you get an extra weekly update from Rodney than you're getting on the free newsletter. And most importantly, you get my, what I call critical updates. When something's important is happening in between monthly newsletters, and if some trend is changing or about to change, that's when I put out an update. I put out 30 last year, put out 14 already this year. And that's what I've found a lot of people value the most. Now, our newsletter, I'm telling you, $249. We haven't raised the price in years. We want to make this as accessible as possible to people. $249 a year, and today you can get it for 30% off, $175. Now, I'm just telling you, with this much at stake and the greatest global top in everything, okay? Everything here, stocks, and around the world, real estate and around the world, commodities, even though they've gone down once, they're going to go down again. Gold even, may be the last, but gold is going to crash probably 40 to 50%, and people think that's the safe haven. Well, we tell people what the real safe havens are, and it's not gold, folks. I'm sorry. Gold will do very well in the next global boom dominated by third world countries like Southeast Asia and India who love gold. Gold's going to go up for fundamental reasons for once. So this is only $15 a month. 2 hard-hitting newsletters. All you have to do is click the link in the description below and put in the code, capital letters, DENT30, D-E-N-T 30. Thanks for listening today, and join us in taking advantage of the crash of a lifetime, which is better termed just down the road a couple years, the sale of a lifetime on all financial assets. This has never happened this broadly before. The closest time would have been late 1932, early 1933, after the Great Depression crash. But this is, again, more global, all markets crashing together, and a time to turn around and make outsized gains again in the next boom from approximately 2024 to 37, while the US millennials are still driving us up. And of course, the global boom, I track all countries around the world, and they're all peaking at different times, decades down the road. So we always have a place for you to invest and beat the markets. Thanks for listening.